Yo, Han is kind of brutal. What's up, y'all? It's your man, that dude, bringing you guys another video. Hey, giving out free subscriptions down below, so if you would, go ahead and click that button. So, episode 4 of The God of High School. This episode is actually a lot slower than the other 3 we got so far. Now, that's not to say that nothing happens in this episode. It's just that this show is extremely fast-paced, so comparatively to what we got before, this episode is a little more slow, a little more fillery, I guess I'm going to put it that way. We get the whole stuff about you maybe getting married to the jerk who just wants to use her for her sword style and just basically use her abilities. But to be fair, you seem to be pretty aware of the fact that she was being used, and she's planning to use that guy in return to promote her grandfather's sword style to make it more popular and kind of regrow the dojo. So she seemed fully aware of what's going on, and she fully planned to use him just as much as he's going to use her. But of course, Jin just refuses to accept that she wants to get married. He sees through what she's doing and knows that it's not what she really wants. So we get kind of the heartwarming moment where Jin comes in, crashes the wedding. Han shows up and they together convince her, hey, getting married is not what you want to do. They fight the jerk that's trying to marry her, and then they walk off, and it's kind of like a cool moment. We get to see them bonding and see that they're really actually close friends. For the most part, the first, I guess not even half, it's like 3/4 of the episode, that's just all that happens. But I didn't mind. It's one of those moments you kind of need in the show for character building. We kind of needed that to further cement the friendship that Han, Yu, and Jin have. So I didn't mind it as much. During the fight with the jerk that tries to marry Yu, she does get injured. She takes her a cut on her side, I guess right her little above her hip, which will come into importance later. Later in the episode, we see that Han's friend is taking a turn for the worse. I'm assuming the guy has cancer just from the way he looks. I don't know if they've explicitly said cancer, but it seems pretty clear that the guy has cancer. And he's taking a turn for the worse, so it's just more pressure on Han to win the tournament and get the money to save his friend. We get to see Han at work in the same jerks that came, I think it was episode 3, that were messing with Han and kind of talking shit about his friend. And Han basically ignores him, he's fine. And this one, with the added stress of his friend taking a turn for the worse, he just can't ignore these guys. He just beats the shit out of them. And it's cool to see, because those guys are jerks. Those guys are assholes. They got what was coming to them. And we get to see that there's a side of Han that is not so restrained, that is not so calm, where he does have his breaking point. He does, he can't be pushed to a certain point where he will respond with violence, which that's a normal person. That's not any kind of knock on Han's character at all. Most people, if you push him to a certain point, will react in violence. But we just get to see that the added stress is finally getting to Han, that the stress of the situation, what it is, and that his friend might die, that he needs to win this tournament to potentially save his friend. Hey, that's just all this weight upon his shoulders, and we get to see that his weight really weighing him down, and it's changing his character, because we know that Han is actually a pretty kind person, a pretty mellow person, a pretty calm person. He's not prone to violence. He just happens to know martial arts. But with all this added pressure, he's more prone to violence, which is just this added pressure is changing kind of his personality. And we get the moment in this episode that makes this episode another great one for the God of High School, and that is the brief little bit we get of Han fighting Yu. Now before the fight, we get to see Jin running in, because Jin's always late. Now we don't really get to see the full fight, but what we do get to see is just Han just repeatedly punching and kicking Yu in the spot where she got cut, fighting the jerk that tried to marry her. So he knows what her weak point is, and he's just targeting it. He just doesn't care, which shows that when faced with an obstacle to accomplish his goal of saving his friend, Han will do what he has to do to save his friend. It's a very brutal side to him, that hey, if I have to go through my new friends to save this person that I really care about, then he will do it. He just shows no mercy. He kind of snaps, he's seeing red. The ref has to step in and stop Han from going after Yu some more, because she's basically unconscious now. But he's almost, I want to say a blind fit of rage, but I guess he just goes within himself, because he doesn't want to do this. He knows he has to. I guess he just flips a switch, so he doesn't have to think about what he's doing, so he can just better win the match, and not with without giving her mercy. He realizes that, hey, I can't afford to sit back and try to win this fight without going after your weak point. I know what your weak point is. I know you have this cut here, and he just punches and kicks her in that spot over and over again. It was brutal to see, because it's juxtaposed against what we got earlier, which was them, Yu, Han, and Jin laughing and talking, and they just saved her in the wedding and all that kind of stuff. So we get to see that they really are friends. They really do care about each other. Jin and Han showed up at the wedding. Han, especially after telling Jin not to get involved, Han still shows up because Han cares about Jin and Yu specifically. and then it just shows that this person that he's trying to save, he cares about that person that much more, that he's willing to just go after you to such an extent where he's basically, if it weren't for the nanobots, he would have been putting her life in danger, because he just goes after that weak spot on her body over and over again without mercy. It's going to be really interesting to see how the show reconciles what Han did to you, because it's almost a betrayal of their friendship in the fact that he knew what her weak point was at that moment and he went after it relentlessly. So it's going to be cool to see how the show reconciles that with their friendship and the relationship they had prior to that fight. Like, is you going to be understanding of why he did it and his reasonings, or is she going to hold a grudge? More importantly, I don't think Jin is going to get over all that quick. I'm pretty sure Jin's going to hold a grudge, because Jin seems like the kind of guy who has like the whole honor system and code and that kind of stuff. And going after somebody's weak point would seem to go against what he stands for. So I think Jin's going to have a harder time getting over than you will. But that's really going to be fun to see. So it's really setting up, the potential final round between Han and Jin, and is building up what that fight is going to be. And this show is moving super fast. At the speed they handle fights, we're going to be past Jin versus Han in either in the next episode or the episode after that. So either 5 or 6. And I believe this is a 12 or 13 episode season. So yeah, at the pace this anime is moving, I'm not sure like what's gonna happen by the end of the season, like where the show is gonna be, what the characters like are gonna be doing. But I'm along for the ride, just like you guys, and I'm enjoying this show immensely. This show it has surpassed everything I thought it would be at this point. So thanks for watching, guys. Again, if you enjoyed the video, hit that thumbs up. If you didn't enjoy the video, I guess say something in the comments. Also, if you didn't, if you want to subscribe, I'd appreciate it. I'll see you guys in the next one.